How to read midpoints, aspects, orbs, and arcs. A rigor framework for combining natal geometry with directed arc timing. Presenting you this PDF file crafted by Claude Anthropic AI agent. Please like, subscribe, comment, share if you dare and care, with peace and love to continue growing the channel. So, essentially, this atlas treats 4 astrological measurements as one connected system. A midpoint is a geometric relationship between 2 points. An aspect is that same relationship expressed as an angle with a tolerance, the orb. And an arc is what happens when the whole natal geometry is rotated forward in time by the sun's motion since birth, solar arc direction. Because the directed arc moves the chart at roughly 59 degrees, 59 arc second, 0.8 arc minutes per year of life. The precision you keep at the natal stage, arc minutes or arc seconds, determines whether a directed hit lands on the right day or the right week. And real quick, I'm just gonna go ahead and complete this. Oops. Just want to pick out the line so I can give you guys. So, as we can see, it's our orb hierarchy, and then there's a reading order of this atlas. So radius equals maximum orb, ecliptic degrees. You see this right here is the exact 1 degrees, and then it goes up to 3 degrees, going on to 5 degrees, 7 degrees, and 9 degrees. So luminary major aspects being 9 degrees, personal planet majors being 7 degrees, social planet majors being 6 degrees, outer planet majors being 5 degrees, minor aspects being 2.2 degrees, and the midpoint dial head being 1.3 degrees. So, reading in this video, we're going to go over midpoint geometry, near versus far midpoints, planetary picture algebra. We're going to get into aspect and orb rigor, moiety, applying separating dissociation, as well as arc units, degrees, minutes, seconds, solar arc rate, and arc minute versus arc second, conversion into timing precision, and a case study of midpoint structure directed to the exact arc second head. You're going to want to stay tuned, so continue watching this video to learn more astrology for free. So, near direct versus far indirect midpoints, or midpoint geometry. Also getting into planetary picture algebra and the 90 degrees dial collapse. So, essentially 2 points being A and B split a circle into a short arc and a long arc. Each arc has its own bisector, M1 being the midpoint of the short arc, near or direct midpoint, and M2 being the midpoint of the long arc, far or indirect midpoint. So M1 and M2 are always exactly 180 degrees apart. So any planet conjunct or opposite M1 is also conjunct or opposite M2. Iranian cosmobiology practice treats both as life structure points. The far midpoint is simply the near midpoint's opposition. So we got our far midpoint, 2. Of course, our dot in the middle, because it has to line up somehow with our near. And then we see our plots A and B. And planetary picture algebra. So for a direct midpoint, M equals A plus B dividing 2, mode 360 using the shorter arc. The symmetry test is A plus B equals to C. Mode 360 written AB equals C. For midpoint, M, the arc second or minute equals M plus 180, mode 360. And you can read as C stands on a midpoint of A and B, a planetary picture active whenever MP AB subtracts C and the orb is lesser down. So now there's this tightest genuine hit in the sample chart. So Moon equals 0.5 degrees 42 Sash, and Jupiter equals 15 degrees 18 Aries. Mars equals 10 degrees 36 Aquarius. Near midpoint, Moon Jupiter equals 10 degrees 30 Aquarius, 310.500 degrees. For midpoint equals 10 degrees 30 Leo, 130.500 degrees. Orb from Mars to the near midpoint equals 0.10 degrees, well inside the 1.5 degrees midpoint orb. So that brings us to our planetary picture. Moon Jupiter equals Mars. On the 90-degree dial, M1 and M2 fall on the same point. So 180 degrees mode, 90 equals 0. The dial cannot tell them apart. Alright, and now there's aspects and orbs I want to get into. Orb tables by body class, moiety, applying, separating, dissociate, out of sign aspects. So when we're talking about our orb tables, maximum orb by aspect class and body pair. So for example, body pair, you got your conjunction, opposition, square, trine, sextile, and minor, being 30, 45, 72 degrees. So we start with the luminary, with the conjunction opposition being 10 degrees, square, trine being 8 degrees, sextile being 6 degrees, and a minor being 2 degrees. Luminary personal planet, 8 degrees in conjunction opposition, 7 degrees in square trine, 5 degrees in sextile, and 1.5 degrees in minor. Luminary social outer, 7 degrees conjunct opposition, 6 degrees square trine, 4 degrees sextile, 1.5 degrees minor. Personal, 6 degrees conjunct opposition, 5 degrees square trine, 4 degrees sextile, 1 degrees minor. Personal social outer, 5 degrees conjunct opposition, 4 degrees square trine, 3 degrees sextile, 1 degrees minor. Social outer, 4.5 degrees conjunct opposition, 3.5 degrees square trine, 2.5 degrees sextile, and 1 degrees minor. Angle, ascendant midheaven, a planet 5 degrees conjunct opposition, 4 degrees square trine, 3 degrees sextile, and 1 degrees minor. In midpoint structure, either point 1.5 degrees conjunct opposition as well as square trine, empty for sextile, 1 degrees on the 90 degrees dial for minor. Alrighty. So moiety, or the pairwise orb formula, basically each body carries its own moiety, half its own maximum orb. 2 bodies in aspect are allowed the sum of their moieties, not a flat table value. So orb AB equals moiety A plus moiety B. So for example, we see Sun, moiety 5 degrees, square Mars, with moiety 3.5 degrees, is still valid up to 8.5 degrees of arc, wider than the flat personal luminary table value, because it is a sum, not a lookup. Alright, and then we have applying versus separating over here. Aspect is applying when the faster body has not yet reached exactness, orb shrinking day by day, and separating once it has passed it, orb growing. Applying aspects are read as building, future facing, and separating as resolving, past facing. So applying, we see here that that gap is closing, and with separating, we see that gap is opening. And dissociate out of sign aspects. So a trine is associate when both bodies share the same element, expected sign distance. For example, Aries 29 degrees trine Leo 1 degrees. It is dissociate when the degree orb is exact, but the signs are not the expected 120 degrees family. So for example, that would be Aries 29 degrees trine Virgo 1 degrees, type by degree, but Virgo is not a fire sign. Dissociate aspects test the planet versus sign layers of a chart against each other and are traditionally read as weaker, more conditional than associate ones, even at an identical orb. So there's a lot of information to take in. A lot of my videos are like that. But I love astrology. I think it's so cool, and we gotta teach this shit more, and we gotta get this stuff out there. So here I am, bringing it to you. So arc units being degrees, minutes, and seconds. Why solar arc direction work lives or dies on arc second bookkeeping. Here is the unit ladder. Ecliptic longitude is measured in degrees of arc, subdivided exactly like clock time. 1 degrees equals 60 minutes, which is arc minutes, and hold on a second before I get confused. 1 degrees equals 60 arc minutes, and 1 arc minute equals 60 arc seconds. So a natal position quoted only to the nearest arc minute already carries up to adding, subtracting 30 arc seconds of rounding. Invisible on a printed wheel, but not invisible once that position is directed forward through time. So we see right here our 1 arc minute, in the middle between 0 degrees and 1 degrees, and then we see our 1 full degree subdivided into 60 arc minutes. 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then 1 arc minute subdivided into 60 arc seconds, the working precision for arc direction. So 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And we call these, I'll just say our AMs versus our AS. Oh my gosh, I can't say that. Our asses? I don't know. Mean solar arc direction rate. So in solar arc direction, every natal point advances by the same amount. The arc, the real transiting sun travels between the birth date and the target date, the day for your ephemeris key shared with secondary progressions. So right here, the mean solar arc equals 360 degrees divided by 365,2422 days. And this is what we get per year of age. 0 degrees, 59 arc minute, 08.33 arc seconds. True daily solar motion ranges 0.9533 degrees per day, near aphelion to 1.0194 degrees per day, near perihelion. So that this true daily solar motion ranges near aphelion in July and to the day near perihelion in January. Chart directed with a mean rate can drift several days, often exacted for birthday far from January through July. Alright, on to arc minute versus arc second timing precision. Converting angular rounding directly into solar arc timing error. So here is the arc minute error. Years, days off. We have the error in arc minute, years off, and days off. And the same thing goes for arc-second error, days, hours off. Except, yeah, that's what I meant to say. So arc-minute error is years, days off, and arc-second error is days, hours off. Error, arc-second, days off, and then hours off. So, for example, errors like 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 45, and 60 in regards to arc minutes we see. This could be just years off here. And days off. Looks like the lowest one would be 1 arc minute, being 0.017 and 6.2 days, and the highest, of course, being 60 arc minutes, coming to a whopping 1,015 years off, 370.6 days off. And the error for arc seconds, 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 45, 60. We see this actually fluctuates because this looks like it's actually not that much at all compared to this. So when we're just 1 arc second off in days, that's 0.103. And when we're 60 arc seconds off, it's 6.176 days off, being 148.22 hours. And then for even 1 arc second off in hours, 2.47. So here's the precision cascade where error enters the chain. So birth time record rounded to the minute of clock time. Natal longitude ephemeris typically accurate to less than 1 arc second. House cusp, angle calc. Sensitive at birth time minute can add several arc minutes. Midpoint picture calc adds negligible error, pure arithmetic. Solar arc direction multiplies any residual error by age in years. So it says here, reading the cascade, the birth time minute is usually the single largest error source. 1 minute of clock time equals up to several arc minutes of angle on a fast moving angle like the ascendant, and that error is carried unchanged in arc terms but growing in day terms through every later directed hit. And now a case study, and then we'll close up. A directed midpoint hit from natal picture to exact date carried to the arc second. So we'll look at the natal picture here first of all. In the sample chart, Sun and Moon form a midpoint at 29 degrees 03 Virgo. And Mercury natally stands 50.15 degrees away at 08 degrees 45 Leo. Outside the 1.5 degrees midpoint orb, so the picture Sun Moon equals Mercury is not natally exact. Directing Mercury forward by solar arc will close that gap. Solving for the exact date. So this is the math right here. Mean rate solution. An ephemeris-based solve narrows this to the exact day. So required arc. Exact hit. And this is what we get, 50 years, 321.5 days after the birth. The orb is a hit window, not a point. A 1.5 degrees midpoint orb does not mean one exact day. It means a window. The picture is considered alive for every age at which directed Mercury sits within 1.5 degrees of the midpoint, i.e. roughly adding subtracting 1.5 degrees divided by 0.9856 degrees equals adding subtracting 1.52 years at our side of exactness. Timeline below, so window shown in years of age. The orb window, adding subtracting 1.5 degrees of directed arc, exact age 50.88, right there in the middle, between 52.40 and 49.36. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you learned something with peace and love. See you in the next one. Piscean out.